Hear 'em.
All right, we are here at the Calling All Heroes Comics podcast at Calling All Heroes Comics. I am George.
Walls.
Tim.
Kramer.
All four of us are here once again at full power, and have a
Full power.
I've been charging all night.
Wonder Twin powers activate.
I'm at I guess half-assed or half-mast at least 50% of the week. So I try to give you guys a good day.
Setting phasers to full power.
All right. So what do we got this week? We're going to have a power 60 minutes here for you, and we're going to, I guess, just jump right in. I personally was very happy this week because I had a trade-in that involved about 20 horror books, and they don't hold a candle to the Walls horror collection, but it's Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Pumpkinhead. I got some Child's Play, Chucky books, and that's kind of my childhood and my generation, and it's super cool, and they were released by, some of them are Avatar, but then some of them are another company, and name should be
Wildstorm's on here.
This is like new. It says New Line here. I guess that's for the movie.
These
thing.
two here
I
are
can't-
Avatar.
Oh, this
Actually,
is Avatar. Yeah,
Innovation, and they were so small they're not even listed in the Overstreet guide.
Avatar. Man. This covers.
So-
Nobody can, of course, see this, but it's a Friday the 13th versus Jason X. The cover's really cool looking.
It's Rip R.I.P.
Yeah.
You know, the cover's great, and no disrespect, but you flip the book open, and I was like, Mike Wolford. I could have sworn that we sat by him at a Comic-Con, and I just remember him being kind of uptight, standoffish, and arrogant, and whatnot. I mean, that's just my take of a guy 20 years ago, but yeah. Anyway, the art in there sucks. The cover's amazing, and it's a big drop-off.
In the history of horror comics, which I've fiddled around with a little bit, you will find there are a lot of really super cool covers. And it happened a lot, even as far back as the 50s. Really great covers, and some of the interior work was hit or miss.
Shoddy, to say the least.
Yeah,
Well,
shoddy.
I still buy comic books for the covers. I mean, I'll come in here, and if I see something I like, either in the back issues or new, I'll buy it because I'll put it up on the wall. I'll look through it, maybe read it. It depends. But yeah, every once in a while someone will do a cover, and you're like, wow, I got to have that.
That's the bait, man. That's how they reel you in.
Yeah, that's been the formula since the beginning.
Yeah, it's like the 60s Turok, man. It's painted covers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you open it up, it's like, wah,
Well, and we talked about that.
Watercolors.
We talked about that before, though. It's like the 50s and 60s B sci-fi movies. You have these amazing posters, and then you go in to see the movie, and that's pretty much,
and
much
you've
the
got the
difference.
UFO on a string.
Yeah. You can hardly see that string. Did you ever see that movie with John Candy called It Came From Hollywood? And it was just a documentary of all that. Had Cheech and Chong in it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
That was good
You
stuff.
can hardly see that.
The best line of that was when he said, Ed Wood stands alone at the foot of the heap.
The foot of the heap. Nice.
Yeah. Well, we had I thought a really good question. I actually posed it to everybody. So we had that, and then also, Gary, I know there's something you had a...
Absolutely.
We'll start with you.
Okay.
Hit me.
Okay, well, we talk about comic books all the time, and a lot of us have a couple of decades in of reading.
Couple.
Are we living in the past? People have said to elaborate on the old artists that we speak of, and I hope people have looked them up as we've encouraged them to do. But are we living in the past whenever it comes to Seti and Kirby and Colin and Ditko and a lot of the people that we talk about all the time? Neil Adams, Steranko, are we living in the past? Are we stuck there? And can anybody that's doing modern comic books compare to these guys? Are we seeing legends now just starting to be formed for the new audience?
I think there's always up and comers, man. I mean,
Sure.
But are they a flash in the pan compared to those guys that did? How many books a day did Kirby do? I mean,
Oh, yeah. I mean, do
you
the
know,
math.
Walls is an example. He brought two classic books with him today, Show and Tell. You know, Tales to Astonish, 9 and 7. I mean, it doesn't hurt to be living in the past, but I consider it an honor to be around knowing that stuff existed when we were young and before we were born and stuff. But I think it's nice to be able to look at the future and see what's coming down the pike. And to quote George, man, it's a great time to be alive.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I think there's some pretty bright futures out there. I mean, look at Millar. Look at all the stuff he's done. Like writing stuff. I mean,
Right.
I did a little quick Wikipedia on him this morning, and I mean, not that you're the big moviegoer, but all the movies that have come from just his brain, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just think it's there's a lot of promise out there.
I think that the comic book business, and just the hobby, it's defined by the past. I mean, in a big way, that's what it's all about. I mean, there's a reason, besides, Playboy models, pro wrestlers, and Z-list celebrities, that you go to Comic-Con, and that's to go through and look at the comic books and stuff. And they're not selling, most of the time, they're not selling what came out that month. They're selling something that was either a month in the past or 50 years in the past.
Right.
But the whole thing's about the past, and it's also about celebrating it. There's 4 books on the wall right now that are celebrating Kirby 100 years, his 100th birthday. And it's like, if we are living in the past on any level, I think that you're supposed to be into this on some level.
I think a lot of the artists today, the new things that are coming out, are obviously they pay so much homage, whatever. I'll be French. Yeah. Homage. In particular, you mentioned Jack Kirby. There's so much of that out there. I mean, Kirby monster cover reprints.
Yeah,
is there anybody else that has? What other artist has Kirby? You know what I'm saying? There, people are like new artists, or people that are big now. People that are big in the industry now are doing old monsters that Jack Kirby created 50, 60 years ago.
They claim to be influenced by him, and so am I. But my artwork doesn't look anything like Jack Kirby.
But that's okay though. To me, that's okay.
Oh yeah, I don't.
There's still influences there. I've looked at your artwork, and it stands out to me.
Yeah.
And because of my love and appreciation of it too. But I look at it, I'm like, I can see where there's a little, other artists too with your work.
And even artists like a Kirby, it's like, even if you're not influenced by him in a way that you can see a touch of it in there, I think some people are influenced by consciously trying not to be him. Yeah. But either way, you're different because he existed.
Right.
I would say it's more inspired by, as opposed to influenced. I'm inspired by looking at his work to sit down and start drawing. Because what comes out from my mind to my hand is uniquely me. If I'm not trying to copy someone else. And also, we're sitting here looking at the Leatherface, and I touched on this before, the classic 80s. I mean, Leatherface is obviously from the 70s with Texas Chainsaw, but when you're talking Michael Jason, Terminator, all the big horror monsters from the 80s, that's the last big group, and I stand by it, that's really came out. So there again, our monster movies living in the past. We have the 15th installment of Freddy, Nightmare. And that's the last time, and that's what I'm saying is the innovation coming out. Because I think books look absolutely beautiful now.
Yeah.
A lot of books and stuff. I mean, what they're doing with computer color is just amazing.
To lightly touch on that, because you know what a horror fan I am.
Sure.
The funny thing when you're talking about, do we live in the past? I'm a really big fan. I like the first Jeepers Creepers because I thought it was a really cool horror film. I loved it. But what's funny about it? It almost looks like it was made in 1980. It almost looks. Yeah. It's a little bit more polished. But I'm thinking about when I was actually I remember seeing Halloween, John Carpenter's The Thing, and Alien all in the theater. I remember seeing them, when they came out. But I was thinking about that. The cinematography of Jeepers Creepers is probably, obviously, it's advanced technology. But I thought that film had such a feel like you could have plopped that movie in that era. I think it would. And that was my definition of fitting. But once again, it beckons to what you're saying. It's really a throwback to that,
Well, and to go to the point of, are there going to be legends and move into the future the way there were in the past? I make this analogy like with the Beatles. There's never going to be another Beatles, ever. And it can be a band that comes up and are 10 times better than them, but they're still not going to be there because when the Beatles landed in America, on average, you have 3 channels. There's 3 TV channels. The nation as a whole are sharing that experience. And so everybody, you know what I mean? It becomes this cultural phenomenon. And now, I have a TV in my bedroom. There's one in the living room. All 3 kids have one. They all have a phone. There's tablets. It's very limited how much of a shared experience. Now, it gives the opportunity to put, 400 comic books a month come out. But that's also 400 books where people are spreading themselves out and we're not having that same shared experience. So whereas Jack Kirby on the wall, there might have been, 10, 15, 20 comic books a month coming out in the early 60s. Maybe more than that, but as far as the ones that survived...
I think you're right in track. Maybe even a little less, actually. It's monthly.
So if you got 15 books on the wall, you have this captivated audience, and every single person that's reading the comic books reading one of those 15 books for the most part. And now, I have 70 customers that come through weekly, I would say, or bi-weekly, every week or two. There's about 70 different people that come in here, and I mean, Batman, they a lot of them buy Batman, but a lot of them buy stuff that nobody else gets. Like, Gary, you order stuff that you're the only person that picks some of the books you pick.
Right.
So there's not and the younger the customer gets, even the more. I mean, they're coming in saying, "Order me this, this, and this." I'm like, not only do I not order that already, I didn't even know it existed, and you're pulling it out of this book that I get every single month. And
well, there's 650 pages to pick from.
Yeah.
In the previews.
And I try. I mean, I feel like I have a responsibility to go through it, Right. But yeah, I mean, they're coming in and asking for that stuff. So I wonder,
But you have to keep track of the stuff that is important to people, though, to keep that. I mean, it's
Sure.
hard. It's hard. 650 pages is hard to focus on everything.
Yeah. But it's like my dad can run into anybody his age, and they can start talking about the Beatles because they shared that experience. He
Sure.
doesn't have to know who that was. They came up at the same time, and I think in a lot of ways, you guys are more so than me. You guys probably feel that too. Like, you shared that experience. You can sit here and you have a generational shorthand where you already know what you're talking about because you shared it. And I wonder if kids now are going to have that. And I think that the breakdown of that audience is going to keep some of these great artists and writers from becoming these legendary guys that have that type of impact that a guy like Kirby or Ditko had.
Well,
I don't mean to run at the mouth. I just
anybody that's listening to us, I pose a challenge to them. Send us your top 3 or 5 books that we're not talking about that we should be checking out.
Absolutely.
Because there's no way for us to buy everything in the previews. I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff in there. But it's like Kramer said last weekend, I have a limited amount of funds.
Sure.
I buy what I can buy, and sometimes I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have bought this because this really looks cool. And then I'm like drudging up my quarters trying to find something, trying to get something else.
Yeah,
and some of the titles that we've been reading for years, maybe decades, go south. And like I said, I'm not a completist anymore, so
right.
If somebody comes on like the Old Man Logan, all of a sudden something looks interesting, I'm on it, and then I follow it through. But as soon as those people leave, Doctor Strange, as soon as the art team, the creative team, writer leaves, we're out.
Careful.
We're out.
I didn't bring my tissues.
I wanted to. You guys always ask, what'd you read this week? What's cool? Not to change the subject, but on the Kirby note, I'm the only guy that's getting Silver Surfer. The 4 of us sitting here.
I think you're the only guy in the country.
Okay, well, Mike Allred, I have a soft spot.
4,700 copies sold last month and nationwide.
And I'm one of those guys.
well, 4,700 copies sold to stores.
Right.
Like,
right.
I had gotten 3 of them in, you bought 1. So
I bought 1.
Maybe 1,000 people in the country counting Tim.
I wanted you guys to see it, and I should have brought it with me, but it's not on the wall, obviously. But there is a splash page, it's 2-page spread in the middle, and I'm not going to give it away because I know everybody's reading it, but it's just like, it's George Perez, it's like huge, all these characters, but it's Allred doing like the classic. I mean, he has like a Kirby Hulk. I mean, it looks just like Kirby would have drawn it. I mean, it's really neat, and it's worth picking up. And even if you just look at it, I mean, I'll bring it in next week so you guys can see it, but I was pleasantly surprised.
So let me ask you, because I know the new Hulk Generations book came out a week or 2 ago. Mm-hmm. Did you say it was a Kirby Hulk? So is the Hulk appearing in that book?
No, it's just a flashback.
Okay.
I don't know how much to go into it in the Hulk book because I read it, obviously, being interested to see how they're going to bring it. And of course, did you guys read it?
Yeah.
I didn't, but you're welcome to tell me. I mean, I think if you were really into it, you'd have read it by now.
Amadeus Cho, obviously, is the new Hulk. And the other Hulk shows up, and he's wondering out loud or to himself. Yeah. It's like, does this guy know what happened to him that he gets killed? And you're like, I'm really confused now. Because I don't know how, like I said, they've painted themselves in a corner, Marvel has, and they always do it, to killing off somebody, how they're going to bring him back.
Yeah.
I read that very same panel, thought to myself, because he's doing that. I'm going, does he know he's been killed?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
What's that mean?
Yeah.
We saw it happen. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of mess it's in, and of course, I think Amadeus is going back to Planet Hulk. I'm not sure how that's going to happen or how we would find it or whatever. I thought it blew up. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah.
But still doesn't explain how they're going to bring Hulk back.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Marvel, quit killing people.
Yeah, right?
Quit making
or at least have a definitive plan on how to bring them back.
It's funny you mentioned that that splash page with Allred, because in Planet Hulk there's a small portion where they're all sitting around the fire licking their wounds after they fought the War Bond, which is the group of them, and they're all telling their tales of how they came about or how they came to be. And in that they used a lot of classic artists illustrated that portion of the book, and it was cool. Alex Nino did the Brood alien portion, which I haven't seen Alex do things in years. Since we have to say the full name because it helps people, Alex Nino, go look him up. One of the best illustrators ever. But he did one, and then for the Stone Men, that's in the group, Allred did it just sort of like when he said, well, we invaded Earth one time before, and it was like when the Stone Men came and met Thor, like from Journey to Mr. 83, and he did it, and you're right, he aped Kirby, and it's super cool.
Which is out in the True Believers reprint of Journey into Mystery 83.
Yeah.
For $1.
That reminds me.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
I had somebody a couple weeks ago, and I'm sorry I forgot to ask the question, but somebody asked you to define what aped means because they were a little confused.
Oh, I'm sorry. When a particular artist beckons back and looks at a classic artist, I guess you could say, or any artist, and mimics their style to the best of their ability. There are some people, when Jack was stopping, or I don't know where I guess he might have been a DC or was coming towards the end of his career, there was a lot of guys out there that could ape him. For instance,
Rich Buckler.
Keith Giffen. Keith Giffen could really, I think, there's some Defenders. There's a splash page of Defenders with Moon Knights coming at you, and if you look at it quick, it's Kirby. I mean,
and
just look at it.
Herb
Yeah,
Trimpe did it also.
Yeah.
Towards the end of his run.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that did 1961? Do you remember the Image comic 1961 that was like a
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think Giffen did.
Was that Giffen?
Was
it Veitch?
Rick Veitch. Yeah.
Okay.
There's another guy,
had
Rick
that
Veitch.
flavor. the Kirby bubbles, like the space bubbles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and there was like a sort of like a red creature, like the.
I mean, it was very much a Fantastic Four satire.
It looked very. It was Kirby
from the Eternals.
Yeah,
and like really bright colors that popped.
Yep.
Like it really looked. Yeah, I'm with you. I remember that.
I like covers that pop in the color.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. Yeah.
Bam.
Ow! But yeah, I'm sorry. Aping. That's a word. I mean, it's imitating. Sort of. And I always see it in a positive way. It sort of doesn't maybe not sound that way, but
it's not a derogatory comment.
Yeah,
it's like paying homage to something, or
or just following a certain style. I mean, it's.
I read
cool.
This week. I read Space Ghost. If anybody, and again, harken back. Herculoids are in it.
Sweet.
Space Ghost has to go to their planet, and the artwork is fabulous.
Oh, I know. I was flipping through it.
It was incredible. Real nice. Taking full advantage of today's computer coloring, and it's real nice. And Space Ghost, because I wasn't real crazy about the Future Quest, because I'm not a Johnny Quest fan, but this is a tie-in to it. But it's just Space Ghost and Herculoids, and they're done so well.
Yeah.
Did it leave? He goes to their
That's
planet.
my little ego for you this morning.
I haven't seen what part 2 or number 2 brings. I ordered it. I know it's coming. Did that story round itself out? Or does it seem like it's going to continue?
I lost interest. You mean the Future Quest?
No, the Space Ghost book.
Oh yeah. It's
going to continue because it's called Future Quest Presents, and then it says Space Ghost, and I thought, is that going to be like Marvel Spotlight and it'd be somebody different every month?
No, because he's in the first 3 issues, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think issue 3's in the new previews.
Cool.
So.
Cool.
Very cool.
Something else I told a friend of mine that was commenting on the podcast. I said, something else you can do, because he told me this. He said, you guys are always talking about different artists and go check them out and stuff, and then you mention books. It's like, what you ought to do is tell everybody a few of the different artists. You can get on Wikipedia, type that guy's name in, and it'll give a list of every book that he's ever worked on.
Right.
And that way it's, as opposed to saying, this guy on this book can be, check out these names and then go see what you like, what you don't like.
Well, that's what happened to me this morning when I reread our talking back and forth on what we were going to talk about today, and when I just Mark Millar popped in my head, and just the volume of stuff that guy's done just in the past 20 years.
Yep.
Amazing. I mean, just...
It's allowed me to find a lot of comics for like guys I'm really into if I've missed something.
Yeah.
It goes back, it'll tell you if they did a cover. Well, there's another link too that will tell you if they did the cover or the interior work, and I mean, I've seen a lot of cool lists like that because I'll be like, well, I think I have. I'm not a completist, but certain guys will love to have as much as I can. I think I have those. Oh, look, I didn't know he did that book, or I didn't know he inked that book, or did a cover or like a splash page or something. It's pretty cool.
That's just like when you got that big pile of stuff like that Chaos Comics.
Yeah.
Glom of stuff that you got. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that Holtz had did several covers of stuff like that.
Oh, hey.
But anyway, like I was saying, Holtz had did several covers of Evil Ernie, and I'd never seen those before. And I'm like, wow, these are really cool. And so, of course, I had to have them. So, thanks, George. Thanks for that.
I do what I can. Hey, we had a question. I posted it. I guess yesterday. Yesterday morning. I'll just read it verbatim. Received a question meant for the podcast. This was on Twitter. We were asked, if you had the ability to choose one superhero from all of comic history to spawn into existence, who would it be and why? And what do you think the ramifications would be for our country, our daily lives, the world, and the future?
That's easy. Superman.
I think we're going to have an argument because I absolutely think Superman's the worst idea ever. But
Really?
we'll move around.
Do we want to touch upon that? I'm sticking with my one that I said the other day when you posed it to me. It's just weird because the abilities and things are weird. Boston Brand, the Dead Man.
Huh.
Get into people, reanimate dead people. I just like that whole cool. I think that's one of the coolest. I'm sorry, I just think it's
this
really
dystopian
cool.
future.
It's really because I think
But
about.
I'm not really
here's
sure
your,
that's going to save world hunger.
Yeah, but you know what? You could he could jump into Kim Jong-un or something like that, and then he'd start passing out flowers and stuff. You never know. I mean, come on, man.
No, obviously,
I'm just kidding. I just think it's
because
cool.
of his power and because of his good nature. Some people like maybe Batman. Sort of ride that rail of good and bad. I mean, not that he ever does bad, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well,
He's got his
look at the
demons and
original
everything
comics. It's blowing people away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? We all have the potential to be Batman, I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
we can all be a detective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I got a lot of reasons for not being a Superman fan on that front. I would go with Captain America. I think having somebody,
A super soldier.
And it's like, it really does, it kind of puts us first as far as like the country, and it goes out from there. But like this positive, 100% USA American guy, the rallying call is just I don't know, like a real hero. I think he's like a real hero. With Superman, there's a few things. I'm not a huge fan of being supervised from above on some level.
Yeah.
I think that's Superman. I'm not. I think that the ramifications would be bad. I think there would be a whole host of people that try less because, Superman's going to roll in. I think there's going to be people that get less credit and try less because Superman's here. I mean, I think he's going to be the ultimate crutch for so many people. And I also think that, and this sounds really pessimistic, but I think that Superman sooner or later in the real world would get sick and tired of our crap. I think there's a lot of...
I think you could fix a lot of crap, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean...
Because when you could say Captain America, he's not a earth mover. He's not going to be able to solve the big problems. He might be inspirational. He might be able to take, 20 guys on at one time, but he's not going to change things. And that's where I'm going with this is Superman can actually come in and change everything. Tsunami's coming. He has the power to stop it. A hurricane. He could probably stop a hurricane. People dying. As you're talking about with North Korea, he'd go over and say, buddy, you got about 2 seconds. He'd just go over and dismantle a nuclear weapon and stuff and take it out to space. He has the ability to change the Earth.
But I think I guess from my standpoint, and I agree with that. But conversely, I hate to say this, but maybe there's a reason a tsunami occurs.
I was going there too.
Yeah, I guess
I have no reason why 250,000 people died in a couple years.
I'm not justifying it.
By no means am I wanting that to happen. I'm just saying though, things are. It is what it is.
I watched an interview,
and how life.
Did you see the big interview with Roger Waters from Pink Floyd? Dan Rather. It's on Access TV. If you get a chance, watch it because he's accused of being very liberal, this and that and stuff. And he said, basically, all anybody wants for themselves and their kids is to live in peace and to be able to live in peace. And Superman's one of the only superheroes that I think that would be akin to our nature of being good and trying to be good and helping each other out. He's the only person that can really move mountains, literally.
But the question goes back to me though: is do we deserve that? I think we as people should be, and
Do
as
we
a country,
deserve we need it.
Yeah, but the country,
We
but
need
that
it.
can be two different things. You can need something you don't deserve,
Yeah.
and I think that at the end of the day, we always live in the country we deserve because as a whole, because we're all in this together, like it or not. And I don't know that it feels like a cop out to say, well, this guy can change everything. I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of it. I just mean, I don't know. Okay, yeah, he can show up and change a bunch, but isn't that our responsibility? Like, in a
Well,
lot
we're not
of
doing a
ways.
very good job.
We're not, but at the end of the
That's a whole
day,
other conversation.
but as
outside
a
of-
country, we're getting the country we deserve every minute because we're the ones participating in it. Not four of us, but I mean, I try to participate as
It's
little
all
as
up to
possible.
us. Comics for everybody.
You know what? I think it's all up to Tim.
I'm
Tim-
taking the
Yeah.
world a better place. One comic book at
One
a time,
top at a
baby.
time.
So
George's
I
money is
I
no
know
object.
your gears
Just
are
come
turning.
here.
I know your gears are turning. I want to hear.
Me?
Tim. Yeah, you. Yeah.
I think Thor. I mean, speaking of moving mountains and being worthy and holding the hammer, I think he could do a lot.
You
of
have the
good
biggest
stuff.
virtue, nobility.
think he could do a lot of good
his
stuff.
alliance
Nobility.
isn't with this planet.
Yeah.
Like I said, Superman. You know,
What is alliances with nobility, though?
Yeah.
And
It-
right.
Yeah,
It-
nobody's
it
going to
is.
have the perfect answer.
Well, nobody's going to because at the
Right.
end of the day, if you got Superman or you have Thor, you have Captain America. I mean, Superman and Thor because they're so godlike.
Right.
And I mean, Thor's technically a god.
So I
You're
was
going to
thinking-
also have a lot of people all over this world that are super bent out of shape about that. Like,
kidding.
I think it's going to go in the face of a lot of beliefs
Yeah.
and a lot of. There's.
I'm just
it
laughing
could be
because
way
I'm laughing
worse.
at all this nobility, and I'm
Walls
sitting
is
here
there-
chuckling. I
Walls
want
is
to
there
reanimate
reanimating
dead
people.
people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
know where
what?
it is?
Gary and I are coming from two
I
separate
just-
places, but we both want the world to be a better place.
I deserve to be in the van down by the river, man.
Wallace
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
to raise the dead.
I just want to. I want to see
Not
a
to bring back
corpse.
people to live longer. He wants to see like the living.
I don't know why-
I never have
That's
a
fine.
fear that Superman would get out of control. You know, I mean, jokingly said he'd get tired of our crap, but he answered to two people, Mom, Paul Kent, two humans, two farmers, and he answered to them. And there's no way in the world with his unbelievable powers would ever do anything to hurt them.
But if we're going by Superman, like in the comic book, he's killed a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people. Like that last movie he made, they destroyed all of Metropolis. They killed like thousands of people. Superman 3.
Wow.
He got fooled by Richard Pryor. And then became a bad guy. Remember when he was drunk at that bar? Or those kids come over and he starts sass-mouthing them? Like that happened. Like that
You
happened.
guys are talking movies, and you know, that's not true.
But that was
Well, that's Gary's weak point.
Superman's never done that.
Not to mention what
That's
happened. Remember
great.
that one Red Sun when he like lands in Russia instead of America? I know that's not the scenario, but did you ever read that miniseries?
I remember. I've never. Here it goes. Gary Walls has never read I've never read Superman of any. I've never done it,
I've tried a couple times.
I'm
and it's
picking
kind
it
of a
up
rough
because
draw.
I like
Yeah.
Gleason.
Yeah.
I'm picking that up.
and I understand Tim's motivation. I mean, listen, I understand anybody's motivation for liking Superman. It's it's.
I know
in the
somebody
comic
that doesn't
world,
like
it's
Superman, and that's
iconic.
Chip Emmerich.
Yeah.
he loathes Superman and the Ground he
Chipwich.
flies upon.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my answer.
But that was an interesting question. That was
Yeah, Wallace reanimating people. We're over
Yeah.
here trying to save the planet.
that's right.
It's nice.
Okay,
Bunch
so
of
let's try that question again. Only we can't use anybody that. You got to eliminate those basic guys. Or better yet, what if it was a villain? And you had to pick a villain to be.
If you had to pick a villain,
Pace Pot Pete.
That's what I was going to say just now. Pace Pot Pete.
I'm not going to say any similarities, but the Kingpin. It's a reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not
I
going
like
to infer that the Kingpin is in the White House right now.
Oh! Bazinga.
tell you something, Daredevil.
yeah. Oh, that was good.
It's going to be huge!
Okay,
Huge. We're doing a big league.
I'm
We're
just
doing a
joking.
big league here.
Oh.
50 Stately Street.
Out of control.
Clearly,
We're out of control.
Villain, I can't
Spitting
even
precious
talk.
monster.
I can't even talk.
I can't
Maybe
even
the
look at
Green-
you right now.
Maybe the Green Goblin. How cool to turn a corner and somebody hurling a bucket at somebody.
There you go. There you go with all your death again.
I was sitting here, I was like, as soon as I asked that question, I was thinking, well, it has to be something like with a benign, low-grade power. So maybe they just kind of are a funny story on a current affair or CNN or something. You're like, how cool would it be?
I mean, right along, and all of a sudden some guy get taken out with a pumpkin. Boof! I'd be like, yes!
I would say, as I said, Kingpin, which of course would be Lex Luthor on the DC side.
No, Mr. Luthor.
As somebody who's pulling a lot of strings and does good at the same time, has all these charities, but at the same time, probably not a real nice guy.
So we talking Gene Hackman Luthor, or are we talking...
no, we're talking comic book, not movies.
Yeah, like he'd still have to be that giant fat guy that's actually super strong.
Who, the Kingpin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Vincent D'Onofrio did a good job with the Daredevil show on Netflix.
He did.
It's like the Kingpin. I'm in the plumbing business. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Had a hard time.
That's what makes... That is some of, to me, the charm of that book. A lot of the characters, the Daredevil, of course there were a lot of superpower characters, but a lot of the main characters were sort of somewhat human. There's the big, time crime lord, and
right.
It's
how about Venom?
real.
How awesome would it be to, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
you flip on CNN or something, and Anderson Cooper's like, he's at it again.
Yeah. Speaking, we try to bring new things into it. Speaking of new, I'm really digging I've picked up Venom from 150 and I've been reading it, and I've really rather enjoyed it. Of course, Eddie Brock has gone back to being Venom again, and
and it's about time.
I like it.
Yeah.
I've liked it. It's not overly dramatic, but I've liked past 3 or 4 issues. I've just enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it because I thought it was a cool character to begin with when it first came out. I just thought the whole idea of how the symbiote, did what it did. I just thought that was really cool.
Okay, here's a question. I'm going to segue from that. Whenever you have like Robins, you have 3 of them, and the same with Venom. There's only one Venom to me. That's it. With Batman's, there's no one else. In the Captain America mess that Marvel's been making over the last 10 years, whether it's in Hydra or who's in the Iron Man. There's only one Iron Man. Now you can have Rhodey and stuff as this
War Machine.
Yeah, War Machine. As always, I just like when they keep the characters as they are, write great stories, and invent new characters around them. And I've had a major problem with, like I said, I don't like the 3rd Robin or the 4th or 5th. How much longer are we going to go where we can't remember all the names of, Batman's sidekicks? Dick Grayson's still around, so I kind of like him being Robin. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
Yes, I understand.
I
respect that.
You guys have any problem with any of that stuff? Where, like I said, when they have the Venomverse, I don't want to see 800 Venoms running around. That's just dumb.
The Venomverse.
Yeah, you just want Eddie Brock being Venom, and that's it. If Carnage comes along, was it Cassidy?
Yeah.
That's good. Another character, sort of a shoot off of it. I
guess what it is I do like the image of it, because I ordered this. One of the Monsters Unleashed has a Fin Fang Foom Venomized, and actually he looks really cool. But it's just really it was really neat.
Well,
that was I just like that look.
Once again, the cover is sucking you in.
Yeah, I'm sort of cool with the cover. Like if you Venomize a cover, I just get a kick out of it. That's just me.
Well, and I agree. It's like how many Robins there are going to be, and I get that side of it. But then at the same time, it's like that's us talking. If there's a 15 or 20-year-old kid in here, should the publishers be giving a damn about, well, we've already had all these Robins. Yeah, you had them, but you had most of them 20 years before this kid was born, and this is our target demographic now. Yeah. This is who we're selling to. So we have to kind of re-up it. It's like James Bond, we're going to keep cranking that out, and coming up with a new one.
And nobody wants to see a 90-year-old Roger Moore, may he rest in peace, pulling out the James Bond.
Especially now,
so you
right?
got,
Well, I was
unless we have the Reanimator.
Yeah, but it's still, true on with that, though, it's still the same character. It's still Bond.
Right.
Fair.
Yeah, it is still the
right.
Same,
in
same
comic books,
dude.
you don't have to age, so that's an
that's off the
movie.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right. They're gonna have Hugh Jackman. I wish he would continue to do it because he's looking great. Very successful, but.
It's really funny. I'm critical of the comic strips in the paper. Like, oh my God, Trixie's still in a diaper. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm 54 years old, but I sort of allow it in the comic book.
Suspended belief.
Yeah, I always had a theory about those books, and that was that somebody came up with 200 comic strips, and they run 100 of them. Then when they're done, they start over and run the other 100. Then they just keep doing that because. Is anybody paying attention at this point?
Believe it or not, sometimes, look, actually, a lot of those folks have new artists on them that sort of ape the other, Well, they do. But The only reason why I pay attention to it is I'm a huge fan of Tom Yates. Has been doing Prince Valiant now for like 3 or 4 years, maybe even longer than that.
Oh, really?
Tom Yates did the first.
Mark Schultz writes it.
The Saga of the Swamp Thing. He did like the first 17, 18, I guess, maybe 20 issues somewhere in there, and then Tolman Bissett took over.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the one that is currently doing Prince Valiant. He's seen all over the.
And I was going to mention,
All
it's
over.
funny because there's a lot of guys that we don't mention. Alex Raymond, Al Williamson, Hal Foster, who does Prince Valiant, or
Yeah.
did Prince Valiant. They said where he would take a whole week on, one page on the Sunday page. And
Yeah.
these guys are just, we're
All
talking,
coming from Al Foster.
we're talking, more comic strips, and some of them crossed over into comic books. But,
We can go all the way back to yours and mine. One of our favorites is Windsor McKay.
Yeah.
Well, that stuff was probably seen by more people than a comic book that month. You know what I mean? I mean, it's everybody.
Windsor McKay's art, the Little Nemo stuff is absolutely
Yeah,
good.
Little
I
Nemo
have
and
authentic
Snowbird.
pages, and one of mine goes back to like 1918. something like
Wow.
that. Yeah, it's Sunday paper.
Yeah, stuff is hard to read, but it's so innovative. He was. We talked about Frank Frazetta, but there's a lot of those pulps. If you go back and look at the covers and stuff, there's guys doing really crazy. The Wolverton, even before him,
Oh, pulp
there's people
covers?
doing these pulp covers that are just,
Kelly Phrase, man.
yeah, just some of them are just unbelievable. What's the one guy's? Was it Fox?
Oh, Matt Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt Fox.
Yeah.
Matt Fox was. I hate to say it, was Wolverton.
Yeah, so-
was Wolverton before Wolverton. There's a guy I want to look up, Matt Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think somebody who's from way back, maybe the turn of the century, could school us,
Yeah.
on a history.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's like, oh, you guys like him. Well, here's the original guy right there.
Well, I think about it when I think about the progression of artists that I really love, of a line of a chain. You could go really like Windsor McKay and morph that into Graham Ingalls and morph that into Bernie Wrightson and morph that into Kelly Jones. So I guess there's one thing. I'm always looking for the new Windsor McKay
Lineage.
the new Windsor McKay, so to speak. So that's one part of my old thing where I will still look new. I'm always looking for a guy that reminds me of somewhat of that, what you would call an illustrative style.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Nino fits in that too. I like illustrators. I always have. I like guys that are illustrators.
And I think that's why people were so harsh on the image books, where everything was just a pinup.
yeah,
Their storytelling
Yeah.
was zero.
yeah.
Yeah, very
Just
Liefeld-like.
Yeah, it's like they weren't paying
Had
any
to go
attention.
there, didn't you?
To what?
Very Liefeld-like.
No, like I said, I give them all the credit for. We all
He
fell.
created the pinup.
We
that's
fell
not
for
true.
it. And,
Too bad he couldn't perfect it.
Yeah,
well, I mean, Deadpool and Cable. I mean, some very legendary
yeah,
characters now.
Absolutely.
He
Sure.
was part of it.
I will
give
guarantee
him
you
all the
one
credit
thing:
in
if
the
he
world.
shows up at a Comic-Con, there'll be a line there to get. I will guarantee it.
I'll be in the line to get a hot dog. So, but I hear you.
Like I said, a lot of artists, like Capullo, whenever he came out, he's really, really come into his own.
Yeah.
And his early stuff, Holtz, all those guys. Eric Powell. Eric Powell was inking Holtz on the Hulk.
Right.
And you see, and I have all the Goon stuff, and you can see his progression.
Mhm.
And that these guys become on their own.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys weren't incredible when they first came out.
Right.
You see early Alex Ross or this or that, and it's really, really kicked up.
No,
There we go. There's
absolutely.
Eric Powell right there. Cover.
Really?
I brought over all my
Neat.
copies of Fantastic Four #1. Like you guys can't see that, but all the different ones that I have, and about 15 of them. But that's I treasure. That's yeah,
Think Fang 4.
yeah. They're both the
Nice.
yeah. They're
That's very classic. What's
talk about
funny-
an accessible guy. Eric Powell is
Well,
very
yeah,
accessible.
whenever you flip that over, and then I saw the original Tales to Astonish underneath, the feel doesn't change.
Right.
Is that, you guys get that?
Oh, yeah.
when
for sure.
when you lift that up, he captures that very well.
Right.
The old classic style.
Super cool.
Any other questions?
I'll tell you guys were talking about the books you read and you like. Darth Vader is off the shelf. It is my favorite book right now.
Oh, cool.
Because the only thing that sucks is with Star Wars stuff, you're so used to ingesting 2 or 2.5 solid hours of it.
Yeah, fun.
I'm not a big fan of having to get 20 pages, 25 pages, and then wait a month to get the next one. So I just let them build up till number 3 came out, and in 15 minutes go through all 3 of them. And so now I'm playing that waiting game. But it's really, really cool. Anybody that's a Star Wars fan, I read the regular Star Wars title, and it's okay, but yeah, the Darth Vader book's super entertaining.
Do Star Wars sell in here?
Oh, yeah. Darth Vader is probably the third biggest selling book right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This one's super rare, just because it's
Yeah, we'll take some pictures of these books, and we'll use that as our default pick this
Cool.
this week.
Yeah.
I can line them up. I got about 15 of all FF number one.
Nice.
Yeah, that one's real. It's not very expensive, but it's really rare.
I'll definitely bring that Surfer book then next podcast. You guys
Cool.
can check that
Oh, I
out.
definitely want to see that.
Yeah,
Hey, something to plug
ahead.
real quick. October the 28th, I know it's a little ways off, but October the 28th is the Halloween Free Comic Book Day across the country.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna be celebrating in a big way. We're gonna have, of course, free comic books, over 1,000 free comic books to give away. We're also gonna have a big costume contest. We're trying to come up with something really cool to give away for that. I thought, a gift certificate, that's cool, but what else could we do? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give away a subscription to any 5 titles you want for a year. So
Wow.
you can come in, pick up 5 books, to come out every month for a solid year.
Cool.
So that's the first prize for the costume contest. So we'll
Very nice.
bring it in, we'll post it, and we're gonna have some food like we usually do, and some giveaways like we usually do in addition to the comics, and hopefully have some artists come in here. I don't want to name any names, Gary Kramer, but I'm going to try to get some guys to come in and do some sketching and whatnot.
I'll see if I know anybody.
You have a good Rolodex. Could you just run? Absolutely.
Well, I'll be here for it.
Awesome. Tim doesn't miss these big events. I remember
try-
one time you were
well,
2 or 3 hours away and you
Yeah, I still
slid
made
in
it.
under the radar.
Yes,
I
I
made
was
it.
here. He came in. He's like,
I
"Hey,
made
I'm
it.
here."
Yeah, there was like one piece of popcorn left when I got here, but I'm not gonna complain.
Well, we'll make sure the Venom candy bowl is filled
That's
up
exactly
to the
right.
brim.
Yeah. Have you all you guys been getting the True Believers books that Marvel's been putting out?
Thanks to Kramer pointing them out to
Yeah.
me. I mean, you mentioned them, but I actually like.
I look
bought
through them. I'll be honest with you. As big of a fan as I am, I haven't gotten them. Another $1, and I don't want to sound like a cheapo, but I probably have like a reprint of all of them.
Right.
Maybe even a couple originals here and there. But
We were talking before, though, about living in the past. I mean, I think Marvel's, in a big way trying to celebrate the past. I'm sure it's not a coincidence that
I've
those are
really-
landing while this legacy thing is going
I've
on.
really been reading into that because the one title I do follow every month, Monsters Unleashed, which is tied into it, and that number 7 coming out with another Fantastic Four, the homage cover.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But they're saying there's something major going to happen there that's going to affect like a lot of what's going on in the legacy. The old monsters and Kid Kaiju. It's supposed to have some huge impact. From what I'm reading, they're trying not to, because they're talking to Colin Bunn, who's a pretty hot writer these days, who's writing the series, saying there's a lot of major. The people need to pay attention because it's going to be really cool with this whole legacy thing. So we'll see what happens because I've been reading a lot of stuff. It's like they're like let's hope they cross the finish line.
It's funny because, like, with movies or TV, they can give you little teasers, and it is what it is. Like, oh, here's the teaser for this season or whatever, and they drop it when they drop it, and that's all they need to do. With comics, the previews catalog comes out every month,
Right.
and they are releasing a book at the same time they're telling you what the book after that is going to be about. And I just think it's funny. I'm sure you guys have noticed how sneaky they are sometimes with giving you a synopsis without ruining what you're about to read when you first see that.
Right.
The guys that do it in the laziest way ever are Walking Dead, because everybody's just such a hound for finding out everything about it. So, like, you'll flip it over and be like, Walking Dead number 172 comes out next month. What's it about? Rick is frustrated.
Yeah. Really? Yeah, it's always one sentence. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
You can just see Hulk changed the tire.
Yep.
There's
The group faces a common problem. Like, what?
Yeah.
That's the way it's always been.
Yeah.
Very low key on The Walking Dead, considering how popular it is.
Well, and sometimes on the website, the Diamond website, they won't even show you
It's
the
funny
cover.
if they just put zombies.
Which would be great, because they definitely didn't use that to describe season 4. They didn't use that at all, because it was a lot of talking.
When's that come back
Dead.
on?
Talking Dead.
October?
October, yeah.
Yeah.
Coral.
We'll see how it plays out. Yeah, that last season, I just waited until it was over to go back and get through it, and I wasn't a fan, I'll be honest. I take that back. I watched the first half of it as it happened. Then when it came back from the break, I kind of waited. But
I thought I liked how it ended.
Yeah, I thought how it ended is how the
Yeah,
second or third episode in the season should have started.
Yeah, I thought it was
They
better than the
really
season
drag it
before,
out.
though. I have to say that. I still enjoy watching the show.
It just started with such a bang. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to keep that momentum up.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, they've had some slow times.
My wife said about halfway through this last season, she said, "This is no longer must-watch TV." She's like,
It's just TV.
I don't care if it's on TV. Yeah.
Oh man,
So-
old Negan's making the Gov look like
Yeah.
like nothing now, man.
Yeah.
Man, how much you hated the Gov? It's like, man, that guy.
I sort of though.
He's nothing.
I sort of kind of like the governor and said a little bit here and there.
He always looked like he should have Roy Orbison on his radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Like, I guarantee there's a picture of the governor and his kid before she became a flesh-eating monster, like in Graceland. And it's taken with a Polaroid.
Nice description. Way to paint the picture.
Yeah. So what do we got coming up this week, guys? Anything you're looking forward to that's coming out?
Huh. Good question.
Yeah, Marvel getting their act together.
Oh,
As much as I harp on it.
Yeah. What are you going to
Yeah.
do? Did anybody read The Wolverine? The Return of the Wolverine?
No, I did not.
Yeah. I don't think anybody did. I read it because it didn't cost me any money to read it. And I mean,
Right.
it had a cool moment in it. It was pretty neat. But
What was this on?
the New Generations book, like where they did the Hulk one, they also did one with Wolverine.
Oh.
They brought like the actual, not future Wolverine, not whatever, not the girl Wolverine, not X-23, not the clone, not X-24, but actual Logan Wolverine. And I ordered heavily, and they sit there. They're going to be added to the list that make up my casket one day. So we'll see how it goes. It's funny.
They sit there.
It's funny. I mean, you all know it's like you buy a book sometimes, and you're like, "Oh, why did I buy this? This is dumb." Or, "Oh, I can't believe I didn't pick that up when I had the chance." Multiply that by 500 books, and it's funny sometimes how it works. Everybody will come in and say, "Oh, I really needed that," and
Right.
I ordered kind of shallow, and then the other way around. So
it's usually how it goes.
yeah. Hey, and not to bring it down or anything, but just a quick complaint. Diamond, they're horrible most of the time in terms of their overall. The people are nice, but their company, they know they're the only game in town.
Sure.
This past week, Metal, I had 10 copies of the Metal book showed up completely destroyed, like not even salvageable, and I immediately got a hold of them and said, if there's anything you can do to overnight those, as well as the Future Quest books that are damaged. Like, it was like 30 books total that you can't sell. I said, I can send them back, whatever you want to do, but if there's any way you can send these to me without charging a shipping cost, because this is affecting my ability to stay out of the red this week. Like, these are serious books. Sent back a thing and said, okay, we're overnighting it to you right away. And they did, in a little box that's sitting right behind you there. And when it got here, I opened it up, and the Future Quest book was in there, and like the Hulk book was in there, and a couple other things. And then there's a paper in there that says, Metal, back ordered, all 10 copies. So,
Nice.
yeah, which means they're going to try to send me second print when they get around to it. And it's like, yeah, how about just...
Well, it's just like that Reborn stuff you got for me from Capullo.
yeah.
I ordered those faithfully out of the previews, and I didn't even think anything about it. And I'm like, oh, it's just typical Image. It's going to be late, because they have a problem keeping on schedule sometimes.
Sure.
And you're like, hey, these books come in. I'm like, wow, really? And they're like all 4 of them.
Yep.
The first 3 were like second, third print. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Capullo. It's pretty cool art. It's a neat story, but
In an odd way, the saving grace is the fact that when I go to the cons, I'll talk to retailers that are huge, and they have the same gripes and complaints, just
Yeah.
on a bigger scale.
Right.
And there are definitely times where, because they're a bigger business, they're taking into account more. It's like, if there's only so many books, my order's getting cut before theirs is, but they have the same complaints.
Well, I'm always leery because you might order. As you were alluding to earlier, that I'm the only person that orders certain books.
Mm-hmm.
The Eric Powell stuff, the Hillbilly, and if one comes in, it's ding. There's nothing else to do. And when books are $3, $4, $5 a piece, I don't. I hate taking a book home that has.
Sure.
It should be in perfect shape. It's like when you buy a car, it better be in perfect shape if you're buying a brand new car. There's not like, there's a little scratch on it. No, there's another.
Yeah, right.
What else you got?
Well, and it
'Cause I'm
sucks.
not buying that.
It sucks when your only choice is take this ding book or wait another 3 weeks for them to send one, and hopefully it shows up.
Like
If it shows.
hopefully.
yeah.
Yeah.
What you said about that, was it Hillbilly that was 3D this past one? Was it the 3D?
Yes.
Were you, like, was that in previous saying it was going to be 3D?
No.
Or was it just kind of like sprung it on you?
Yeah.
I was kind of let down, man.
That's the first thing that Eric's done that I've been disappointed in a long time.
Okay, I'm right there with you then.
And I thought the artwork looked like a sketchbook.
Yeah.
And I have to find my 3D glasses. I'm hoping that it works with just any of them.
Right.
Because I know I have some from all
there's
the
a
books.
pair here somewhere.
Yeah.
I think I scabbed onto them.
Yeah.
I think I have.
Yeah, but
Took the creature from the Black Lagoon 3D.
the story,
You
because
didn't
the
throw me
story,
any flow.
the one right before that was great.
Right.
When
right.
he was like captured with that other guy, and then he said about saving the bear and stuff. Remember that?
Yes, I
That
do.
was and that was one of the best I've read in a long time. And then the very next issue was like,
You open it
the
up, I'm
story's
like,
not
what is
good,
this?
the art's
It's
not
just-
good,
yeah.
nothing. So
And it's in 3D.
Yeah.
And your eyes hurt.
3/4 of the story is.
Yes, it was.
And maybe if I do it in 3D, maybe it's going to look better. But yeah, because usually he pencils a lot. I think that he colors the pencils. You know, Dale Keown does the same thing. A lot of his stuff is just pencil, and they just color like the darkness.
Huh.
Remember that? It was just pencils. They
Wow.
didn't ink it. And whenever
I
he
did
colors
not
it,
know
looks
that.
really cool. Well, it's funny stuff because it was about the third page where he was in the snow. You know, he's covered with snow walking.
Yeah.
The one that was wonderful. I thought, wow, this is going to be a great looking book, and then went downhill.
3D, yeah.
Now I never say that about Eric Powell, and yeah, it was not good.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was, me and you are the only ones probably, George, you ordered it for us. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, you're on.
Yeah.
But that's your job.
It is. Yeah, that's totally like that's your job. Like I was like, why did I have to do that?
Do your job.
It's your job. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Clear that up.
It's your job to spring the unworthy 3D comics on us.
All right. Well, we have just a couple minutes here left, and we're gonna be scooting along. But do you guys have any closing thoughts? Anything you want to throw out? Anything you want to recommend somebody to read? Any questions? Anything?
Old Man Logan's still kicking butt, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. All high five on that one.
I've said it numerous times. Spawn is rocking.
Yeah.
I like the new art. I've been liking it for a while, but it's good.
You've been
good
talking,
stuff.
and you've been talking about it for quite a while.
Yes.
And just being in the store and stuff. And I always feel like it's so late to jump on because I quit reading it. I mean, it's 25th anniversary. I quit reading it 23 years
stopped
ago.
too. I absolutely. I get it.
That new artwork, there was just
I like
something
it.
about it that was immediately appealing.
I like
and,
it.
And
I
it was a
really
good.
like it.
It's a good jumping on point right now.
Yes.
So while I don't have the issue that I started with, which was 2 months ago, I've ordered them. So if you guys stop in, you'll be able to pick up 2 or 3 in a row. And
And really briefly, we touched upon. I know it's really cool. Those characters are aging and developing, which is like
Yeah.
Cyan, which is very important to the story arc too. I like it. There's no Trixie or High or Lois there. They're actually evolving and moving along. I love it.
Well, what's funny about that is Eric Larson and Savage Dragon has been tied so closely to Spawn over the years, and he's moving at that same pace. Like
Yeah.
his son is an adult now, and
I loved
kinda
when
went
he
through
did
that whole
the couple
thing.
issues he did the book. Larson did it. Loved it.
I'm a huge Eric Larson fan.
Yes, and they were very Kirby-esque since we were talking
Yeah,
about that.
Eric with a K. If
Yep.
anybody listening, just look up Eric Larson, Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, he did some Hulk stuff. He did, obviously he did. He's doing Savage Dragon. I liked if you get a chance, and I have it here about 7 times over, the original 3-issue miniseries of Savage Dragon. Remember when that landed? I just thought that was so awesome. It was, for me personally, it was such a departure from Fantastic Four and New Warriors and Amazing
Right.
Spider-Man. It was like, this is really edgy. I can't believe I'm picking this up at the
I had
market.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, hey, and lastly, anybody that wants to stop in today, we're giving away something pretty cool. They came up with Dark Knight metal lithographs, and I got an order of 20 of them. So they're really nice, like high-quality prints. Just talking about basically the Dark Knight metal miniseries, and then each of these are a one-shot, where it's like a parallel universe. Did you get a chance to read Metal yet?
No.
Okay, then I'm not going to give up the ending. But did you read it?
Yeah.
I thought that was super cool.
It was.
So,
yeah, I enjoyed it.
So we'll see where that goes. And all right. Well, anything else, guys? Anybody else want to throw anything out?
I think I'm good.
Read
Just
more
watching
comics.
Dead Man reanimate this zombie.
Read more
Yeah,
comics.
Walls is over here
I can't
reanimating.
give up on it. I love it.
Walls is here reanimating everybody.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think this is the first time in quite a while that we're even at a scotch under an hour. But it's been a scotch.
Scotian.
Nova scotching under an hour. And
I've been scotched.
Ooh.
Sounds like a really bad MTV show.
It does.
Coming up after Punked, I've been scotched. Starring downtown Julie Brown. All right, on that note.
And then Cortez.
All right.
Where are you now?
All right. Back to seriousness, guys. For this week, I'm George.
I'm Walls.
Tim.
Kramer.
And we will see you guys next week. Be sure to send all your questions and comments. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.